today is we're in the village of Mocha, Ethiopia. It's in the Guragi region, which is about 5 hours southwest of Addis Ababa. We've wanted to do a medical clinic in the Guragi region for years, and now it's actually happening. COVID slowed us down. We had plans for a team about 3 years ago, and now we have a team here today. This church, it was the first evangelical church in the Guragi region. What we're doing today with the medical team is we have people registering. They're Muslim, they're Orthodox, they are evangelical. We have just come to share the love of Jesus and to share the gospel in word and deed. So that's what we're doing here today, and I'm going to walk you through the process of the way we've set our clinic up. Registration process. We've had folks that have actually been gathering since about 6 o'clock this morning. They were actually given tickets in the previous days before we arrived, and so the folks who have a ticket were able to get a registration card. They're being registered outside here, and then we've of course added more people than had pre-registered. This kind of always happens with a medical team. I think we had about 150 that had pre-registered initially. We've got well over 250 at this point. So we're going to try to see everybody if we can. We've got a day and a half in this village to see as many patients as we can. Inside the church building, you can tell that the new church building is still under construction, which actually worked out really good for us because we were able to set up the whole clinic inside the new sanctuary. So once people get their cards and they're brought in the door, we'll have them sit in this area, and then we take people one by one to visit the nurses. But before they go to see the nurses, I've had the privilege of getting to greet every group that we've seated and just to share with them the reason why we're here is to share the love of Jesus, and that we have hope because of the price that Jesus paid for us, because of his death, his burial, and his resurrection, that we have hope that even though one day we're going to die, just like Jesus, we're going to be raised from the dead, and we're going to be able to live with him for all eternity, and we're not going to need doctors anymore. We're not going to need nurses anymore. But until that time, it's our joy to share the love of Jesus in this tangible way by helping to meet physical needs. First stop after being registered is you get to see the nurses. So they're taking blood pressures, they're getting their vitals, they're getting their history and what their chief complaints are. We've had folks with a variety of issues, as you can imagine. So then the nurses decide whether or not they need to go see a doctor or whether or not they need to go to the pharmacy next. So from the nurses station to the doctor typically. We've got a doctor from America and we've got a doctor from Ethiopia who are going to be working together to see as many patients as we can. The doctor from Ethiopia is going to be able to see patients that have more long-term issues. He lives about 10 kilometers from here, so he could follow up with folks if they needed follow-up. Of course, we have to have translators at every station, and sometimes it's a little difficult because we're dealing in 3 languages at least. Of course, we speak English. Some of the folks that we're seeing speak Amharic. Almost everyone we see speaks Guragi. And our translators are a mix of Amharic and Guragi speakers, but it's working.
He doesn't have a doctor's admit.
Did you have glasses before?
This is the first time.
First time to have glasses. So how does it change the vision?
Yeah, there's a change. Yeah, you came from a long distance to help us. So why should not happy?
Yeah. So it was worth the walk?
And you came from a long distance. So may Allah bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
Very bad.
Get to. We had expected 150 and were prepared for 150, and I've just got finished counting. We saw exactly 300 patients. That was 300 patients that received medical evaluation. Some received physical therapy. Several received reading glasses. That's pretty impressive for a day and less than a day and a half to have seen 300 patients. It's been really successful. One of the things that really stood out to me was that last night we were talking with the church elders, and they were talking about how this church has had a lot of problems between the Orthodox and the Muslims in this village. And there's been some bad blood, so to speak. And this clinic was open to anyone from the village. And we had Muslim, Orthodox, and evangelicals. And last night the elders were saying, this has really opened a door for the gospel in this village. Because the Muslims and the Orthodox were willing to come to see the doctors. That opened a door, and he said, we have helped to build peace in this village. So I thought about blessed are the peacemakers. That we got to do that in just a day and a half. It's amazing. A lady who came in with dementia, who was mute, she couldn't speak any longer. And then after receiving prayer, she began to speak, and she knew who her daughter was. There was a lady who had lost the use of her left arm. And then after prayer, she received the use of her arm again. There's lots of stories like that that we're, as human beings, we're mental and we're physical and we're spiritual. And with a medical team like this, what we're trying to address is all three. And I think this team accomplished that. It was a great joy to be a part of it. So I want to say to Gumtree Presbyterian, God bless you all. Just for the vision to support these teams. Really only God knows all the stories that will come from this time in Ethiopia. So God bless you and thank you. And we want to see you in Ethiopia if God's putting it on your heart to come. We could have used some more people this time. So, all right, God bless you and thank you.
እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ እግዚአብሔር ይባርክልኝ የበለጠ ሰፊ ደረጃ ያብቃልኝ ከዚህም ደረጃ በጣም የተባረከ አድርግልኝ በኢየሱስ ስም አሜን
ስላገኘሁት መድኃኒት በጣም ደስ ብሎኛል አመሰግናለሁ ቴንክ ዩ እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ
እግዚአብሔር ይባርካችሁ ተባረኩ እርዳታ አደረጋችሁ ሰላም ይስጣችሁ በሄዳችሁበት ሁሉ ሰላም ይሰጣችሁ መልካም ጉዞ ይሁንላችሁ እግዚአብሔር ይባርካችሁ ተባረኩ
እና ከባህር ማዶ ያላችሁ ሰዎች አልፎም በአገር ውስጥም ያላችሁ ሰዎች ይህን ማህበረሰብ ለመርዳት ያደረጋችሁት እርዳታና ድጋፍ በጣም ደስ ብሎናልና እግዚአብሔር አምላክ ዘመናችሁ ትውልዳችሁ ስራችሁና አገልግሎታችሁ ሁሉ ይባርክ ለብዙ ሰዎች ለመዳን ምክንያት አልፎም ወንጌል ለመስማት ምክንያት ለጥያቄው መልስ ለማግኘት ምክንያት ሆናችኋልና እንግዲህ ብዙ ማለት ይቻል ነበር በጊዜ ስለምንገደብ ጌታ ዘመናችሁ ይባርከው በጣም እናመሰግናለን የእግዚአብሔር ሰላም ይብዛላችሁ
እድሜ ይስጣቸው ልጃቸው ዘመናቸው ኪሳቸው ይባረክ እኛ ምንላቸው የለም እኛ ያላሰብነው ብዙ ትልቅ ስራ ሰርቶልናል ስለዚህ ውለታው መክፈል ስለማንችል ጌታ ይክፈላቸው ብዬ ምስጋና አቀርባለሁ
እና እግዚአብሔር አብዝቶ ይባርካችሁ በጣም ነው ደስ ያለን በተለይ በዚህ አካባቢ ያለው የሙስሊሙም የኦርቶዶክሱም ቤተክርስቲያን ያለ በሙሉ ይህንን በማድረጋችሁ በጣም ነው የተደሰተው እኛም ደግሞ በጣም ደስ ብሎናል በጣም ወደናችኋል እግዚአብሔር ዘመናችሁ ይባርክ እኛ በጣም ወንጌል እየሰራን ነው ያለነው እና በዚህ በወንጌል አገልግሎት ውስጥ የናንተም ደግሞ እገዛ ያስፈልገናል ከኛም ጋራ ደግሞ እንድታገለግሉ እንድትሰሩ በጌታ ፍቅር እንጠይቃችኋለን ቀጣይ ያለውን ጊዜ ደግማችሁ መጥታችሁ እንደምትጠይቁን እንደምታገለግሉን ደስ ይለናል ዘመናችሁ ይባርክ በጣም እናመሰግናለን በሰላም ግሙ ተባረኩልን
ባንተ ጊዜና ሰዓት አቤቱ ጌታዬ ባንተ ጊዜና ሰዓት አቤቱ ጌታዬ ብላቴና ታላቅ ታደርጋለህ። እንደዚህም እንኳን ለወግ ለማለቅ ታበቃታለህ፣ ታደርሳታለህ። እናያለን፣ እንሰማለን። የቤተሰቦቿን ልብ ደግሞ ትጠግናለህ። በጌታ በኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ስም ያልሰማ ያለ ጆሮ ደግሞ ይስማ። በጌታ በኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ስም በጌታ በኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ስም ይሄ የተደፈነ ጆሮ